Hello, welcome to Making a Difference. I'm your host, Greg Chapman. Today we have an exciting guest by the name of Angel Sanchez. Angel, we're glad you're here. Just tell us about yourself. Who are you? What you're doing? I just shared your name, obviously.
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm a native, Jacksonville native. Grew up in the Arlington area. Moved to the Orange Park area, then back to the West Side. I went to Still Middle School and I went to Robert E. Lee High School, which is now Riverside. But yeah, I'm a native of Jacksonville. I'm an avid sports lover. And back 3 years ago, we started a nonprofit called Home Team Student Services, which works with student athletes and supports them. And been doing it for the last 3 years, loving it.
That's cool. I love our show, Making a Difference. And I really love it when we have local guys on there because, like myself, I feel like we're running out. It's like, we're few and far between anymore.
For sure.
And so just tell us about Home Team, mission, vision.
Yeah.
What are your goals?
Yeah, so Home Team, our focus is working with student athletes, parents, and coaches. And being a student athlete, I realized very quickly there's a lot of things that student athletes go through that the average student doesn't. You know, I had friends of mine that ended up going D1, and we had a big celebration for them. And in May, signing day, which everyone's aware of, with the balloons, the news is there. And then fast forward to the end of that same school year, the end of that year, they're back in Jacksonville. And I begin to try to wrap my head around, these are little kids just playing Pop Warner, lived their whole life to play sports, and then life happened, and they didn't know how to adjust. Yeah. And so I just realized that's beyond the X's and O's. Like, we have great coaches all across Duval County, but what about when they're home? What about when they're off the field? Who's supporting them in that way? And so we, our main 4 pillars are mentorship, which is so vital. We all have mentors in our life to help us get where we're at. Tailored tutoring, ensuring that we're helping our kids, because our kids' schedules are different, man. We have kids that work multiple jobs. They're at track practice, football practice until 8 o'clock at night. And there's just so much weighing on them. So how do we support them academically around their schedule, right? Because a lot of teachers have after school tutoring, but they're on the field. How can they make it, right? Yeah. So trying to adjust that. And then we work on career development, right? We're both doing things you probably never thought we would do when we were in high school, right? And life takes in different directions, but being okay with that, right? That pivot is so important. And you're more than an athlete. I always preach to my kids, you're more than an athlete. Athletics is awesome. It gives you a voice, it gives you expression, but you're more than just an athlete, right? You're a human being. You're a future father, mother. So help them figure out what life looks like after sports. And last one's community engagement. Making sure that they get involved in Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville's wonderful. You know, I was growing up, people always said dog Jacksonville. Jacksonville is exactly that. But I love Jacksonville. I'm very grateful to be here, and that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, that's cool. Within SCA, because I do coaches only at this point in my ministry career, we have a curriculum that's called 3D Coach. And one way we define coach is like the old 1800 definition of stagecoach, a vehicle designed to take someone of importance from where they are to where they want to be. And so I love that mentoring is one of yours, because coaching is mentoring.
100%.
And a lot of times for coaches, they can't get past the wins and the losses. 100%. It's all about the performance. And so what are some examples that you have of a coach who had helped take someone of importance, an athlete, from where they are to where they want to be? It doesn't have to be a college sport.
Yeah. So my co-partner who helped me create Home Team is OJ Small. Probably familiar with OJ. Yep. OJ coached Riverside Lee for 8 years. Played professional, played at UF, Florida. And he has some students of his, athletes, that graduated. And a lot of times, unfortunately, when a kid graduates, they're kind of like out of sight of mind, you know, especially if they're not doing too well. But the same group of kids I told you that end up coming back to Jacksonville, he actually ended up hiring some of them to work for his construction business.
Cool.
Right? And so his love and concern is what made me even want to start this, because I seen him go beyond the X's and O's. He cared about the individual. Yeah. There are kids that were homeless. He helped provide housing for some of those young people, careers, and just showed them, listen, I care more about you than just what we do on the field. Because I think that's a great example for me, is like, even in the midst of his busyness, Ms. Johnson, Coach Daryl, who are the ADs over at Riverside, they brought kids into their home, you know, and just really helped them understand, like, listen, you're beyond what you do on the field. Because I think it's hard sometimes to understand what our kids are going through because we don't take time to ask them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love what you said about being bigger than what you are in the field. I tell coaches, and I really think the same applies for athletes.
100%.
Sport is what you do. It's not who you are.
100%.
You know, because a lot of times we tend to form our identities around what we do.
100%.
And you and I both know that we have a great God who, thank goodness, he doesn't care what we do.
Mm.
He just cares who we are. And so when we understand that our relationship with him is found and we are his, when you live life that way, everything else is just different. So in your, your nonprofit, I don't call it a ministry. In your ministry,
Yeah, absolutely.
in your ministry, how do you help athletes understand that what they do is not who they are?
Yeah, I think for me, it's just showing up consistently. One thing that I try to do is if they win or lose, I'm still going to be there. And what I try to do is I ask them, how are you doing? And I try to, and I don't really even talk about sports sometimes. I just ask them, how's life? How's your mom and dad? How's family? Because I have to understand that it's beyond that. It's beyond just what you do. So I try to remind them consistently by just having honest conversations, man, and getting to know that athlete for who they are. You talked about your faith and in God, and someone told me this even in church is God can't love you any more than he already does. There's nothing you can do to earn more love. And so we think, oh, if I'm a better athlete, I'm more important, more valuable. So what we try to do is you always have the high-end athletes. Thank God for those D1s. But most kids aren't D1. Most of them won't continue playing sports next level. So do you give the same effort to those kids as you do the ones that make you look good?
Yeah.
And for me, it's the ones that are on the bench. We sit down and talk. I do interviews with them. Yeah. And people are like, who is the guy? Well, he's on your team. You didn't even know that, right? And sometimes we don't value, and it happens in the work world and relationships and marriage. I'm married going on 10 years, got 3 beautiful children. And I try to apply the same thing to my kids. It's like, when you fail, I still love you. You're not a less than. Yeah. I don't give you less attention, less, and so a lot of our kids don't have that at home. One of our slogans is changing the culture of high school sports, but also it's every student needs a fan in the stands. I look across these stadiums and I see so many parents that love to show up to, for certain students, but then also look at how many empty seats there are. Yeah. And I have kids that say, Coach, can you come to my senior night when no one's coming? Can you come to my award ceremony? Because no one's showing up. Yeah. And it's heartbreaking for me, but I understand that parents go through a lot too. It's not easy, and I used to always kind of bash parents. Oh, they don't care. No, they do care. They're just everyone's getting pulled in so many directions, right? So if home team can just be that support and just love on them and say, listen, we're here to support you. That's what we try to do.
That's cool. Angel, thanks for your time. You're definitely making a difference in our city. Can't wait to see how God continues to use you in all the schools. Who knows where you're going to end up with all this? Yeah. And so thanks for your faithfulness and your diligence to pursue this mission and vision that God's put on your heart. And for all of our friends out there who check out Making a Difference, thank you for tuning in. Catch us again later.
Foodies Care is a nonprofit organization here started in Jacksonville, Florida. Our mission is to support other nonprofits realize and carry out their missions. We're trying to simplify that process to have a local body that's here on the ground and says, listen, we're going to work with you, we're going to partner with you, we're going to give you the resources that you need to be able to do the work that is needed in this community.